to keep that band has to play together.
I feel it's a little, or standing in front of other people.
That's a, the band has to play.
Okay, can you tight band, tight band?
Namo Deshataya Krishna Putale Srimate Vedanta
Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhagavad Gita Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhakti Pushtapani
Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhagavad Gita Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Vishatarine.
Sri Guru Sharanya Padma Kevala Makrati Sama
Sri Guru Sharanya Padma Kevala Makrati Sama
Andamali Shavadana
Mandamuli Savadana
Dhamara Prasade Mare Evavato Hiya Jai
Dhamara Prasade Mare Evavato Hiya Jai
Krishna Bhakti Hori Jai Hori
Krishna Bhakti Hori Jai Hori
Guru Padma Kya Ite Te Torgira Aikya
Mukha Bhakya Ite Torira
Arana Torira Mane Acha
Arana Torira Mane Acha
Sri Guru Charane Rati Ese Yutama Danti
Guru Sarane Rati Ese Uttama Gati
Eka Sade Purje Sarva Asha
Eka Sade Purje Sarva Asha
Jakudan Jai Janme Janme Prabhuste
Chaturani Vivante Jame Jame Prabhuste
Yagamarte Kashito
Nirayam Bhattacharya Chito
Prema Bhakti Javaite Avidya Vinasa Jatre
Bhakti Rama Buddhaya Vidya Vinasa Jate
Iti Jai Jahar Charito
Venelaya Namara Charito
Guru Karuna Sindhu Adam Adhanar Bandri
Guru Karuna Sindhu Anamatana Bandhu
Kera Divan
Bhakti Bhakti Bhakti
Mahaprabhu Korudaya Hamare Padachaya Evejas Kustuti Bhuvana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Avanityananda Iradaita Gadada Srivasta Gita Bhakta-vrinda.
Prabhu Nityananda, Advaita Gadada, Srivasta
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Recording in Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Vidyadhikacharya Shrotar Satsasi Sivanisam Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Its founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Vidyadhikacharya Shrotar Satsasi Siva Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Anantagoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Srim Sikha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Kandavandan ki Mayapur Dham ki Jagannath Swami ki Gangamayi ki Namayi ki Tulsi Devi ki Bhakti Devi ki Samveta Bhaktivinoda ki all glories be assembled to us. Gaur Premanandi. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Pralada Raja Daime. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Tatam Karnakala Ye.
Chiradam Karnakalaye.
Nrsinga Bharata Nrsinga.
Nrsinga Bharata Nrsinga.
Toya Mita Nrsinga.
Toya Mita Nrsinga.
Nrsinga Rida Ye Nrsinga.
Nrsinga Vinaya Nrsinga.
Nrsinga Madhi Sharanam Prabhaje.
Nrsinga Madhi Sharanam Prabhaje.
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Atuta Sringam Galita Hiranyakashipu Tanupingam Keshavadrita Narhari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Re Jaya Jagadisha Re Jaya Jagadisha Re
Tavatara Kamalavare Aduta Sringa
Dalita
Hiranyakashipu Tanupinga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare.
Hari. So, who's your class today? Daru? You class?
Well, I could, but I think rather her last chance to hear her again.
Your last chance. So,
It's okay.
Vanas.
If you don't want to do it,
Nope.
no. Anyone want to do it? Please go.
You're on the guest, so. Looks like you were elected.
Wait, I can do that. No, interesting. That's the way to think.
Excuse me, your holiness. Oh, my shoes are over there.
I was hiding some. No.
I'll be curious, why is that paint, that picture over there?
Govinda brought it down. He was testing sizes. It belongs in your room, your piano room. I mean,
You know what I wanted to do? What do you think? To the left of the Radhakrishna picture, over on the left side, put Prabhupada, on the right side, Panchatattva.
that's why he brought it down to test the size.
No, not on the altar, not on the, actually, yeah.
No, you also put there Panchatattva for that size.
Like here,
No, we need big pictures,
like
That size.
this.
bigger.
You want bigger than that.
Yeah, you had mentioned that, like the size of Krishna Balaram or Prabhupada, like this sort of
Maybe a little
size.
smaller than that, but we could get pictures made like Panchatattva, Prabhupada and Panchatattva. This doesn't have to be actually on an altar, just have to be able to see it.
Also remember the word.
What's that?
The temple will be over there.
Oh, yeah, but for now.
Okay.
Is she your longer?
I'm the one.
She's a semi-motor.
Okay. Yes.
So, oh, I left my phone. It's saying, it's a phone.
And your clicker.
My counter, yes. Actually, these don't click. Like, oops. Hare Krishna.
I'm just waiting. Did you switch to the verse though, Rishikesh? And when you come back down.
I'll come back, yeah.
Come down.
How much was that? It's $50, you know. $50, get her registered. As they.
I don't know. No, it was, she's 17 almost, so it was close to 17 years.
Yeah, and you never have to read that. No, it's good.
Maybe things are different now, but at that point, no.
Cool.
You stay?
Well, now
Are you okay with everything?
what do you mean?
Like everything you have to do?
Yeah.
What time the travel?
I have to drive to South Florida, so I didn't want to do that too late because I'm just.
I was thinking also.
I will do very fast.
No, please.
What I was thinking is if you do 20 minutes, we can go to Krishna house for the morning program, so you can see what it's like there.
Okay, that's good.
So, but we need to.
My
program
English is
that-
so fast that I have to know most
Okay.
of the thing. Is it, okay? Can I?
Yeah. mhm.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jana Bhava Girivaradari
Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Bragadara
Yamuna Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 I'm reading Srimad Bhagavatam. 14? Yes. Puragrama Vrajadhyana
Puragrama Brajadyana
Kshetrarama Shramakaram
Kshetrama Shirakaram
Ketakarvata Goshamscha
Ketrakarvata Goshamsa
Dadahupatananicha
Dadahupatananicha
Puragrama Brajodhyana
Puragrama Brajodhyana
Kshetrarama Sramakaram
Shetrarama Sharam Kamaram
Ketakarvata Goshamscha
Ketrakarvata Goshamsa
Dadahupatananicha
Dadahupatananicha Puragrama Brajodhyana Puragrama Brajodhyana Shetarama Sri Ramataram Shetarama Sri Ketakarvata Goshamscha Ketakarvata Goshamscha Dadahupatananicha Dadahupatananicha
Puragrama Brajodhyana
Puragrama Brajodhyana
Kshetrarama Shramakaran
Shetrarama Shamakaram
Ketakarvata Goshamscha
Ketakarvata Goshamscha
Dadahupatananicha
Dadahupatananicha
Puragrama Brajodana
Puragrama Brajodhyana
Kshetrarama Shrama Karan
Shetrarama Shamakaram
Ketakarvata Goshamscha
Ketakarvata Goshamscha
Tadahupatananicha
Dadahupatananicha
Pura, cities and towns. Grama, villages. Vraja, pasturing grounds. Udyana, gardens. Kshetra, agricultural fields. Arama, natural forests. Ashrama, hermitages of saintly persons. Akaram, and mines that produce valuable metals to maintain Brahminical culture. Ita, farm villages. Karvata, mountain villages. Goshan, the little villages of cowherds. Cha and Dadahu, they burn it. Patanani, the capitals. Cha also. Translation. The demons set fire to the cities, villages, pasturing grounds, cowpens, gardens, agricultural fields, and natural forests. They burned the hermitages of saintly persons, the important mines that produced valuable metals, the residential quarters of the agriculturalists, the mountain villages, and the villages of the cow protectors, the cowherd men. They also burned the government capitals. Just a sequence of verses of destruction. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Udyana refers to places where trees are specially grown to produce fruits and flowers, which are most important for human civilization. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram puspam palanto yan yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhakti upahritam ashnani prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Fruits and flowers are very much pleasing to the Lord. If one wants to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can simply offer fruits and flowers, and the Lord will be pleased to accept them. I'll make comments while I'm reading. So this is quite interesting why Srila Prabhupada is mentioning this verse in this purport, while the description is like such a heavy effort to destroy, and the counterbalance is that he's showing how it's easy to make offers and to please Krishna, to please the Lord. It's something that Prabhupada always mentioned, that you have to do a huge effort to destroy your life at a certain point. Like to be demoniac, you have to make a huge effort. It's not something completely easy what they are doing. Like as yesterday Srila Deva read that verse, that they were accepting very in a submission way the orders of Hiranyakashipu. And all this prana and all this life, all this effort that is coming from the Atman, from the soul, it's being in a completely opposite direction than to self-realization. And here Prabhupada is mentioning, like, Krishna would accept easily a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, and that would please very much the Lord. It's so easy, actually, to be connected to Krishna if we go into the essence of the process. Like the Bhagavad Gita is really a very didactical instruction for like, just follow what I'm saying, this is gonna work. And Krishna makes a lot of promises that he's saying, if you trust exactly what I'm saying, you're gonna see the result of that. And I promise you that. He's talking this to Arjuna, which is completely different from any other texts that we have in Vedic culture. Like, it's very explicit, the instructions. It's not that common. That's why Bhagavad Gita is so special, because it's very explicit. He's not having a conversation that could have a dual interpretation. It's very clear. Although there are some, for example, Shankara's school will have a completely different interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is not the center of the Gita, and then he becomes like just an abstract idea to talk about the Atma and Brahman. But he's also making a huge effort to do that because there are so many personal pronouns in first person singular in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is talking so much aham, maya, and so on. Like, he's talking mine, I, me, so much in Sanskrit. And when Shankara is going to make the read of those verses specifically, he's going to put this I in an abstract figure. It's something like, I say I like water, and then Gandhini will understand that I'm saying that human beings in general like water. It's not that Radha Shakti is saying she likes water. It's an abstract idea. I'm using the first person pronoun just to give an example. And he's doing this kind of effort, and it's such a huge thing in Vedantic tradition, like Govinda Bhasya of Shankara and so on. But he has to manipulate a lot, these personal pronouns that are in there. And Krishna is being so personal and showing that it's quite easy to get close to him. And sometimes when I observe our movement and how we present Krishna consciousness, sometimes we're not presenting this kind of easy path. In a certain easy path, not easy because you're not going to make like a huge internal transformation, but it's not like the Christian or Judaic God that you have to make like, this person, if you don't do exactly what he's saying, he's going to punish you or something like that, or you are missing something. Once I heard something from a devotee from Brazil that I thought it was really instructing, that he said, it's not a crime if you find a treasure and you do not take it for you. Like, the treasure is there, is abandoned in the desert, and you are like starving and you need to construct your life with that treasure, and you find it. But then you simply ignore it. It's not a crime. It just means that you are very dumb. Like, and I thought this was very clear because it gives another idea of what is not being open to receive Krishna's mercy. And when you are not open, it doesn't mean that's a crime. It's just like you are not, your intelligence is not connecting your real needs with that is coming from you, for you. Yeah, let's continue. Our only duty is to please the Supreme Godhead. Samsiddhir Hari Toshanam. Whatever we do and whatever our occupation, our main purpose should be to please the Supreme Lord. All the paraphernalia mentioned in this verse is especially meant for the satisfaction of the Lord, not the satisfaction of one's senses. And what we see in this verse is like the extreme situation. It's like it's a war description, actually. It's a war description. So we are living in many wars in the moment in various dimensions, but we can see that men fight specifically and in inner relationships and government relationships because they are so attached to what they are fighting. Like, they really want that things for them. And what Prabhupada is explaining here is that all this Prakriti Tattva, all this material nature should be completely offered to Krishna. That's the natural laws of the cosmos. The government, indeed, the entire society should be structured in such a way that everyone can be trained to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But unfortunately, especially in this age, Nate viduhu swarta gatim hi Vishnu. People do not know that the highest goal of human life is to please Lord Vishnu. On the contrary, like demons, they simply plan to kill Vishnu and be happy by sense gratification. They simply plan to kill Vishnu. This is such a strong statement of Srila Prabhupada, but in a certain way it connects to what Atmahata that Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Chakdeva was mentioning, that we have in Sri Upanishad, that when you are not doing any effort to be conscious of God and to be conscious that you are a soul, because that's an important effort also, you are literally killing this possibility, this ontological connection that we naturally have. And one thing that Acharya Deva always mentioned that really I meditate a lot on that, is that our process of Bhakti Yoga is not about making water. It's like the water is already clean, and when it has some pollutions or contaminations, you just have to make it like a process to make it cleaner, because the essence of water is still in there. And we have many philosophies, spiritual philosophies, that have a different idea of the Atma, like you are going to transform yourself in a spiritual being, that you are not already this. And this is in the background premises of these philosophies. And when you evaluate them, how the process happens, you find this lack of understanding about the soul, that the soul is eternally Satchitananda, and you do not have like to construct these or make this happen by your effort, like, or you have to reincarnate for 1,000 times until you get illuminated, and then you're going to be a soul, and so on. And many philosophies carry this idea. And one of the things that caught my attention in Krishna consciousness is this very clear idea about the soul. The soul is Satchitananda, it's eternal, it's always available if we meditate, if we breathe, if you're not like always in Rajaguna, even in service sometimes, if we connect with this reality, we can literally perceive directly the soul, the consciousness. And everyone can do that. When we are chanting Hare Krishna, we can, for example, observe we chanting Hare Krishna in your mind, like you're chanting, and then you can observe your chanting, and then you can go back and observe the observer of the chanting, and then you go and you can see what Prabhupada mentions about the many layers of mind, and you realize like that you are in the background, like making the decisions. So what you're going to do with your mind, your intellect, and with your body, and so on. And that's Krishna consciousness. You are aware that you are already that. You're just making the effort to make it like to put it outside. Any comments about this beautiful verse?
Beautiful class. Yeah.
What?
Beautiful class. Yeah. It happened in 2 verses ago when I gave a class, the same idea. No? We're talking about killing the demons, and then Prabhupada talked about offering a flower and a leaf. Isn't it like this is a recurring theme in Prabhupada's speak in the whole chapter? 2 verses ago or something like that was the same thing.
He mentioned the same verse?
Mentioned the same, yeah.
This is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's why when
he insists on the same point, like he's not making any malabarism, he's just insisting on the same point. I love it that he mentioned this verse, because they're doing such a huge effort to destroy everything, to kill people, and to have such a terrible karma for their lives, like, and destructing their soul and destructing Vishnu in their consciousness. And then he's saying, but it could just be offering like a flower and water. It would be way much easier. And then I love this, because the evil, and when you look into a Krishna consciousness perspective, it's not something that is threatening you. You see that demonic, it's somehow like also mudha, like this idea of a lack of a developed mind. It's like a very strict and narrow mind that is going on in there. And because sometimes we're living in a situation that presidents and the decisions are being made by men that proclaim themselves as such a powerful, and we have this whole coaching situation, because if you have a very powerful status in society, that means that you achieved your goal and so on. It's a demonic somehow like construction, that material reality can be exactly what is going on in spiritual reality. And we know that is not the case. Sometimes people have many failures in their material life, but in the spiritual reality, they are very well positioned. And they proclaim themselves, they talk about themselves in such a high status. And then we're going to realize by their decisions, because decisions are made by consciousness. And it's exactly what Srila Prabhupada talks about, decisions. Decisions are the symptom of the soul. And Charadeva uses that very well when he's saying that decisions like, I'm going to get out of my bed, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to drink that, I'm going to say that or not, are really showing our worldview, our reality. And by their decisions, we can see how narrow-minded they are. And it talks louder than what they are like proclaiming about themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, if we don't say like you mentioned also about that, like observing ourselves. I remember Charity was saying kind of we should look at ourselves as Krishna would look at us. Is a kind of part of like our proper spiritual to being properly spiritually situated. If we are able to look at ourselves type of from a side.
I just think that's a good exercise to be like, to realize the consciousness, the soul. It's not that is being well spirit positioned. I think service, it's about the symptoms related to service speak louder, I think, than how you can do like mental process and so on, just to make it clear, because all this, our process is about service. It's about like, and Rupa Goswami mentions that very clearly, it's about putting our mind, our intellect, our senses, our body into Krishna service. And this can be done like in 1,000 ways all the time. Like even your breath, when you wake up, you can offer to Krishna. Like it's completely open the possibilities. And sometimes we think in a very narrow way also about service, but it's like it has many possibilities to connect with him. Sometimes we are not in a very good position to serve, like we are far from devotees, or we are alone, or we are facing a very difficult moment in our lives that we do not, it's not easy for us to relate or something like that. We still can do many service with our mind, chanting, even alone and breathing until we get really connected and go like into the Sangha, into the association. We have many possibilities.
What did Prabhupada say?
Yeah.
A flora, whatever.
Yeah.
Water.
By the way, we
I have
have
no excuses with this process actually to serve. We have so many options, like, and we don't have to do like great things. Like Acharya is doing great things, but we don't have to imitate Acharya like at the same time, because sometimes we feel we have this all projection of this high personalities, and then we stay so, oh my God, but what I'm gonna do? And I remember once my god sister, she said to my spiritual master, Gurudev, I want to do huge things for ISKCON. And he answered her, don't worry about that at all. First, become a very huge person, and then naturally you're going to do big things for ISKCON. So if you don't work on yourself, that's not going to happen at all.
I have a comment. Do you hear me?
Sí, yes.
Yeah, I have a comment in relationship to what she was mentioning
One
earlier.
One
Can you
second,
hear me?
because people, yes.
You got it? Okay. I have a comment in relationship with what was mentioned earlier, that there was one devotee in Brazil mentioning about how if someone doesn't take to the
So we
mercy, they
cannot
may
hear
be,
you.
or you can be, let me just, hold on one second. I'm just going to take
Yeah,
my
yeah,
ears
yeah.
off. 1 second.
Krishna, Krishna.
All right, can you hear me now?
I'm not going to Krishna house because they're close.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. I have a common relationship to what was mentioned earlier about one devotee saying something to the extent that if one does not take the mercy,
I'm listening.
one
and
is
I'm
dumb.
right.
which is agreed upon more than anything else. You know, at the same time, I think there's another context that one can look at it. And it's not saying this is right or wrong. At the same time, this is one way that also can be looked at as this way, that everybody has their specific journey. For example, let's suppose, you know, one is trying to, you know, going through different processes in one chanting, and one's chanting, or let's suppose one is trying to facilitize, we can see that everybody has their specific journey. So I guess the word dumb can be looked in different ways. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yes. Of course, all this philosophy, it's like a diamond. You can explain in many ways. And at the same time, I think I still insist that he went really into the point, like he went really into the target, that sometimes we are not aware of our interests and we cannot embrace what is offered to us. That was his point. And each person has its path, but his whole point was about Krishna's mercy, which is something that Urmila Devidasi also mentions, like she's in her book about the art of chanting. She mentions like, what is sincerity? Because Rupa Goswami mentions that the only thing that you need to advance in Bhakti Yoga, it's being sincere. But what is it? And she mentions that when Krishna offers something to you, like when he's merciful to you, when he gives you an opportunity, you do not ignore it. You embrace it, like the opportunity to serve. And this really works on our ego, on our mind, and so on. Because if you really practice that, if you really embrace the opportunity that Krishna is giving, it's really transformative and really shows that we really want to be part of this Gaura Lila and everything. I do believe that people have their own path, but it doesn't mean that they are going to ignore like spiritual opportunities if they were like completely easily available and like that. Yeah. Also connecting to that, there is something that Acharya Deva mentions about the University of Govinda, that even Buddhism and all these impersonal traditions are steps on this way to get connected to Krishna. Even atheism could be into that, because you have spiritual realizations wherever you are. Like you are in an impersonal position or in an atheist position, and you are like in this huge cosmos, Vishnu university, trying to understand this huge personality. But if you don't have this kind of reference in the end, you don't get the point. So yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
What do you have your idea of what you're gonna write your thesis on yet?
The master is going to be on comparative theology. It's not my favorite topic, but my advisor is focused on comparative theology. So I'm going to do Christianity and Vaishnavism, which I think has some connection points and many that do not have any connection also. Yes. So I'm working on that.
You already know about what it is gonna be. It's not like that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Yeah. There are some very interesting topics, like, for example, the Maya and evil in Christianity and Vaishnavism, which is not a superficial topic because it's going to be related how each tradition sees God in the end. How is the absolute truth in each tradition? And you can see by how is the understanding of illusion and evil. Yeah. But I'm not going to enter in this topic.
So Maya and Satan are not the same. Maya and Satan are very different, right?
Yeah, they are, but they are the same, like the potencies that makes the soul get disconnected to Krishna, disconnected to God. So the concept is different, but the function is very similar. And if you look into the function, you see that they are very similar. So yeah. I think it's that. I don't know if you want to mention something or okay. Yeah. Please.
Looking at the purport where the Prabhupada says that the demons, they simply plan to kill Vishnu. And
Yeah, so simply plan.
I remember when I was a flower child and just hitchhiking all over North America, and Mexico and Canada, and just happy-go-lucky. But when I visited the temple in Miami, we had a beautiful tropical farm there. And the first verse that I memorized, that I thought it was so cool, that Krishna says that let me see, real quick. It was the Yakaroshi Yadasnasiya Javosi Dadasiya Yatapasisi Kompleta that Kurusha Narpanam. And also the bit which says all that you do should be done as an offering to me, and one becomes free from all sinful reactions. And then another verse was that the devotee of the Lord is freed from all kinds of sin because he offers everything first as sacrifice. Others that do things for their own personal sense enjoyment barely eat only sin. And I thought that was just like, that's it. I mean, we just can just offer all we do to Krishna, then, I don't have to worry. Hippies thought a lot about bad karma and stuff. Not
Yes.
to worry about bad karma. It's all wiped off. Krishna's so kind that you just offer everything you do to him. Then you get out of this world of birth and death.
Yes.
For some people, that's simple. But on the other hand, like the demons, they don't get it. They just want to kill Vishnu. So it's
complicated. Yeah.
complicated. But fortunate if one has that. Some people have a soft heart
Yeah.
for Krishna, for God.
It's simple for those who are simple. It's complicated. Yeah.
Even people that are religious, like the Muslims, they're really into killing. If non-believers or this or that are being so hard-minded, if you don't do it this way,
Yeah.
But not everybody.
The religious killing also, it's something so sinful. Imagine killing for God, like saying that you're killing for God. And that was such a current thing in history. Like our history is completely marked with this kind of mindset.
Krishna is
Negative
the
mindset.
love and peace kind of God. And
Yes.
Well, he
yes.
gets them demons.
How would they get?
Yeah. And people then argue that the Battle of Kurukshetra was
Yeah.
in the same level, but they do not understand what is the presence of Krishna in the Battle of Kurukshetra. That really changed the whole situation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because then in history are going to have like the Century Wars and something like that. But they were not century, like the closest to a century war, it was really the Battle of Kurukshetra. That was happening for real. But how can you differentiate what is real and not without the revelation of parampara, really, like guru-disciple process? It's not possible at all.
Silacharya said always that every religion has bhaktas. And every religion has fanatics.
Yes.
Every religion we are not exempt of that within our movement. So whenever I think about other religions, I always think there must be bhaktas in there, so I don't think the Muslims or the Christians or whatever. In every religion, there is those bhaktas who want to really love God and serve God, They may not have the tools to do it, they may not have all the knowledge, but in the heart, they are bhaktas,
Because the gunas are, the modes of nature are acting in any religions, like we have fanaticism. But it's complicated because the Tamaguna, for example, in Vaishnavism, how it was expressed. Do you really believe that it was expressed in the same way that Tamaguna was expressed in Christianity? Not at all. Like we don't see in the history of Vaishnavism like burning women alive or like creating a department of torture as they did with Inquisition or something like that. We don't see this kind of Tamaguna expression in Vaishnavism and many traditions of India, but we do see a very different kind of Tamaguna acting in some traditions. And this is because there is a huge lack of understanding. And so the gunas are acting, but they're acting in a different way in each position. And history can tell us that like clearly.
But you think bhakti and gunas are related? Because bhakti is, I understand the gunas will not be, if you are too over the gunas, you will not be able to manifest the bhakti very much. But bhakti, I thought, is a quality of the heart, no? You think it's not going to manifest. And in all.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Raja Vidya, like Krishna is explaining that this is the king of knowledge because it's complete in the Bhagavad Gita. And because it's complete, when Tamaguna manifests in this tradition, it's way more ahimsa, like
Sure.
it's way more non-violent than when Tamaguna manifests in a non-Raja Vidya setting, where they have like this intent to serve, but there is a huge lack of understanding in so many aspects about the soul, reincarnation, karma, and God, and all the science, that when Tamaguna manifests, it's really bad. So
It's an interesting point, just to use that as almost a comparison for what appears to be like a more complete or elevated package, you know, comparing Tamagun to Tamagun across, comparing Rajagun to Rajagun across, just to see a hierarchy almost of like which complete package is offering a more absolute understanding.
yes,
Or
because
pure understanding.
because by history you can see that it's not manifested on the same way.
No.
Like,
It's just overeat on Sunday fish, and that's how our Tamaguna is limited.
yeah, for example, we're going to have like those practitioners of bhakti in like a century before Bhaktivinoda Thakur or something like that. There was so many Appa Sampradayas and they were like dressing as women and so on. It was a huge thing in Vrindavana and huge debate. We're going to have like, and there was sexual scandals also related to that. But at the same time, we didn't construct like a very narrow mindset to dominate the world and like making huge genocides and killing all the indigenous and so on, like women and children, and like making epistemological violence, which is saying that the way you know reality is not valid at all. We cannot use the way you know reality because we know reality from a perspective that is absolutely true, and everything you bring doesn't matter. So this epistemological violence with the physical violence, which was colonization also, like political, economical, epistemological, ontological, so many kinds of violence were happening in this religious and economic colonization, that we cannot compare that Vaishnavism did something like that. And that's a huge important topic. William Dalrymple, which is a historian, he was a professor in Oxford. He wrote a book called The Golden Road. And the focus of his book that won a very important prize of history yesterday or something like that, is focused in showing how ancient India transformed the world. And one of the things he brings many important points, like many important historical points. But one of the strongest points that he brings is that the spread of the Indian culture as Hindu culture or Buddhist culture in the East Asia through the countries like Lanka, Cambodia, Japan, China, and so on, were not done by the sword, were done by the admiration and respect, because people wanted to know Sanskrit and know those texts because it was the same relation that people had with Greece. Like if you speak Greek, you are an intellectual. If you know Greek mythology, it means that you are an educated person. And that was happened with India also. And history is not very fair with India in that sense. And his point is, it was not about violence. It was about admiration and respect. People wanted to be related to Indian culture and with the Sanskrit, because that means they were civilized. That means they were advanced. And this really happened. And people are traveling all over around to go to Nalanda University. And we are always saying that the first universities of the world are in Europe, like obsessively. We teach that, but it was not there. Yeah, it was Nalanda. And yeah, so many points.
So happy you're studying what you're studying, and yes, it's very fascinating. I think we need more of that kind of like a worldview, because we have a, I was Catholic and whatever, you learn whatever, and then you enter in the Hare Krishna movement and we have so much to read, so we almost forget about what's going on in the world, and when you have any crisis or anything, you don't think about this other aspect of it that could be helpful also to understand, a more broad understanding of it, like put it in place with everything else, you know.
Into a context of
Yeah,
some kind.
and all the other things, yeah.
Prabhupada mentions, I don't remember which purport was, maybe you could remember this purport. I think it was in the first canto of Bhagavatam that he mentioned that the social sciences should be in service of Krishna, because it helps to understand like the Satkaryavada cause and effect process and so on in human nature and in the planet and so on. So when I was doing my undergrad in history, I had like a compromise with myself, because in the last 2 years I got in contact with Vaishnava philosophy, and that changed the whole perspective of history for me. And my professors were like, don't care at all for that. And I was like, how am I going to express that? So we used to make our tech exams with paper, not in computer. And like we had to write like 4 or 5, 7 pages in front of them, like. And I used to give the answer they wanted, like, oh, this happened, the French Revolution happened, this and that, and and then when I finished, I said, and now I'm going to write what would be the perspective of Srila Prabhupada on that. And I used to write all my exams like what they wanted. So I have my grade guarantee. And then I'm going to write like from a spiritual perspective. And I used to do that a lot. It was really nice to exercise like how I would see our history through gunas and all these cosmological laws that are not considered to evaluate all these things.
You did a workshop for us with all those essays.
Yeah, I think I have them in Brazil.
Yeah, because it would be nice to know what people want and how somebody would interpret from Prabhupada's perspective. Would be really nice thoughts.
So thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Okay.
It's interesting, like here that how the demons, the Prabhupada said that the demons, they seem to be planning to kill Vishnu. It's like we all at one time were in the spiritual world. Prabhupada said that.
Yes,
How did some people go so
low, yeah.
low? And there's other people like you that you heard about Krishna and suddenly, okay, this is for me.
Yeah, but maybe we tried to kill Vishnu and same life also. This is crazy. The first time I heard about that, I was like, oh my God, they're thinking about killing. This is the kind of professional demonic like that we have in these stories. Like, it's way more than I ever thought. Like, they really believe that they could kill Vishnu. Like, Prabhupada is kind of mentioning this in a way here that he's connecting with sense gratification, but those guys really believe that they could kill Vishnu. That's really striking for the mind. Like,
They're going to be killing Vishnu even through philosophy, and they'll take the Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by Krishna, and turn it into something completely different. Just their twisted mind.
that's a good point. Yeah, completely. Taking like once Prabhupada said that the problem of material reality is that Krishna is not in the center of everything, and then you're making like a huge effort to take naturally. Krishna is not in the center of Prakriti Tattva if you don't make like the effort from the soul to put Krishna in the center. Like, it could be an easy effort, but you have to put Krishna in the center. You have to do this movement because we are in Prakriti Tattva and we belong to spiritual realm. So it's our duty as souls to bring Krishna, because we have Krishna in the core of us. And that's micro and microcosmos. We have to make the same into material reality. He is here, so we put here in the center of this reality also. So we're bringing light to this reality. That's what a Shaktavishavatara is doing. He comes from the spiritual realm, and then he's bringing Krishna to this dark reality, which is material nature. And imagine like dedicating your whole life to do the opposite. It's really sad. It's really sad. And at the same time, this brings us a lot of grateful emotions about being in this position, because sometimes we complain a lot, but we are being so privileged on being in this situation. And even when we do like small services, we are like in a very, very well positioned in material reality. We have to be very thankful for that, because Krishna is literally inviting us to have a relationship with him through service. And we should hear this invitation, like service is the invitation. Yeah.
Nice thing how the Vaishnavas there, they don't wish the demons to suffer. they'll actually try to, well, even if they're demons, if we can give them some prasadam, that'll give them a chance. Somehow or another, they can give up this terrible direction that they're going in.
Yes, I remember when I read like Draupadi saying about the situation with Ashwatthama.
Yeah.
And she would no, and she was like, no, we cannot kill Ashwatthama because her mother is going to suffer as much as we are suffering. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on in here? And Prabhupada is praising her so much in the purport, like Draupadi is completely full of compassion and so on. Like she's so fulfilled that she can like not be in a very vengeance
Yeah.
way with Ashwatthama. Yeah, that's amazing.
Actually, mentions that episode a lot
Yeah, I love that episode.
because of the controversy. He said, in Wisconsin, we had different opinions, and we like, what is the best way to do? I said, well, they had it. They were arguing, should kill him, not kill him.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were arguing about how to do the best part.
Yeah, Draupadi was like compassion. Bhima was like, kill him, kill him. And then I was like middle term.
And it kind of turns out that they should have killed him because then he tried to kill Parikshit in the womb.
Yes.
Well,
The guy was just.
not necessarily. We don't have the Bhagavatam.
Exactly, but all.
Krishna went there to protect him, show his power. It's all part of the play.
Yeah, part of it.
Yes.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.